to
All
go.
right. So what are the topics?
The topics are we're going to Sheertex is even more and more deep shit. People are starting to come out of the woodworks.
I'm sure that they're committed fraud, guaranteed.
There is this scathing article called "The Great Sheertex Caper," where we're going to discuss it. Also, I we had a lot of fan reactions to the last episode, got some interesting stuff, so we'll lead with that. Then I want to talk about some of the excuse me, just the overtaking of fashion that's happening with tights, and that we're having more and more fans openly discussing wearing in public. I've been seeing it more in public. I don't know. I'm sure in Seattle you're seeing it pretty
What?
men wearing tights and or pantyhose all over the
Dude,
place.
I straight up, I was at Costco and saw this absolutely gorgeous woman. She was wearing black nylons, and I was stupid and didn't follow her to go talk to her. So, oops.
I don't know if that's stupid, but you want to know what's interesting? A couple of the young girls that I worked with at the gym, they're maybe 21, 22 years old. They both were wearing black pantyhose out to the clubs.
Yeah, it's my generation that just, excuse me, suck fucking ass, and I either have to go older or younger.
Well, here's the thing. Fashion seems to move in like waves. Like remember for a long time, like well, at least when I was in high school, it was considered fucking so uncool to like anything from the 70s. If you liked disco, you sucked. If you liked ABBA, you were an asshole. And they would,
ABBA's, I'm sorry, but ABBA's timeless. Who the fuck would say that you are weird if you listen to ABBA?
that was
Don't
my
get me wrong, like I grew up on it because my mom would listen to it, so it was always blasting in the car, but they're freaking timeless.
no,
The shit that gets put out today is after like the first time, I'm already over it.
no, I
I didn't
don't
even want to hear it to begin with.
I don't disagree with you at all, but I'm just giving you an idea of like there is a cyclical nature where in the 80s it was not cool I mean, I'm just saying like there's some sort of like generational push, but what it also happens with fashion too. Like for a long time in like the early 2000s, from like 2000 to like 2015, skinny outfits were all the rage. Guys had to have skinny ass jeans on, you know what I'm saying? Like everything was, skinny, skinny, skinny. Now we're seeing a shift towards not just skinny jeans with men, but I'm saying like now because of Middleton, there is I really think her, Taylor,
God, I love her.
they brought pantyhose to the forefront. It was sort of like, oh, you can look gorgeous and you can look elegant.
Hey, so by the way, this I don't see any scandal besides layoffs and lawsuits, man.
What with
With sheer tax,
your
there is nothing else on here.
well, I mean, I did do my research. I can stop it if you I can.
No, I don't see it.
Well, as soon as I t turn off my thing, I just got to figure out how to turn it off. I don't know why the fuck it's not being quiet, but okay, one sec. Okay, here we go. All right, so should I do the intro first and then read it to you? Just give me a little heads up.
Not just we'll roll with this. We're doing sheer text. We're doing
We're doing
what?
shit text. We're doing a shift in fashion because people, I mean, I'm saying like regular ass people are talking about it. Like it's becoming a thing. And with the success of all these independent companies, except for ShareText, they're blowing up. People are doing really well. I mean, it's a good thing. So let's just say welcome everybody to Tights Frame of Mind. I am one of your hosts, the Pantyhose King, and with me
And
is
I'm the Commodore.
the Commodore. The Commodore and I are here to bring you even more pantyhose-centric entertainment. And you guys, I know that it'll shock you, but guess what? I feel like that Sheer Text still hasn't been given their flowers of what a great job that they've done being an exemplary tights uh, company, if you can call it that, uh,
They're
for
a
all
company.
of us.
They're just a company.
They are a
Let's
company.
just go with that.
They make
Full of
things
lies and scandals like everybody else.
allegedly full of lies and scandals, right? Because
Allegedly.
what's her name? The lady, that lovely I don't want to say, I guess
No slander, no slander.
I'm
Just
not gonna say
she's
what
an interesting individual.
she is interesting. I mean, she has a very good, like, you can lead her to water, but you can't make her drink kind of thing, if you know what I'm saying.
No, she's been sipping the Kool-Aid, man.
Also,
She's dipped too far into the Kool-Aid,
she looks like a horse, allegedly. Okay,
allegedly.
so here we go. So the Pantyhose King was doing a little bit of research on the interwebs, and we'll just share the screen for all our Patreon viewers, because remember, Patreon, you get to see the videos and you get to see all of our gloriousness. And there is the time is approaching where the Commodore has, I've gotten confirmation, people, that the time of Pantyhose is upon us, which is a big deal because the Commodore is not known for agreeing and or being flexible whatsoever. I mean,
That is true.
yeah, I'm sure you're good in bed though.
Well, we'll leave that to the viewers whether they decide I am or I'm not.
Which, by the way, if you are interested in having relations with the Commodore, that is the top tier Patreon. All you have to do is pay about, like, I don't know what, $50,000. Does that sound good?
Do I sound cheap to you?
$50,000 for a lay is not cheap.
Sounds pretty cheap to me.
How much do you think the real escorts make, dude? I mean,
Oh,
50.
dude, they're raking in. Dude, they're
They,
making $1,000 a dick suck.
I said $50,000 for a lay. You don't even have to put anything in your mouth.
That is true. Yeah. Well, I think it's definitely going to be left the ball in your court, buddy.
Okay, well,
Right up your avenue.
as your pimp, I'm gonna say Commodore's up for 50,000. So if there's any really super duper, let's say, fluid listeners out there, you
Well,
too
let's
can.
just say this. There goes my political career. So it's over.
Well, I mean, or you could just do what every Republican does and just push it under the rug. I mean, there is a reason why the Republican National Convention happens to be a place where all of the major escorts from LA seem to end up there, all the gay porn ones. And I have it on good authority that, well, let's just say I fucked someone who fucked a bunch of people over at the Republican National Convention. And we're not talking low-level workers. We're
Talking high
talking like
level.
we're talking like the kind where it's like you don't even want to think about them getting a boner because they're, entering their 300th year on Earth and it's no good. They're very old. Like, we're talking to like about a Mitch McConnell kind of like turtleneck kind of, you don't want to see that waddle while you're having sex, but I digest.
Dude, I can't wait for that guy to be fucking gone. That guy is such a waste of space. Him, Schumer, and Pelosi. Anyone born in the 40s or 50s, hell, even mid 60s, should not be in Congress, man. They're
We
so
love
fucking old and out of
Except for
touch. It's not even funny.
except for our fans, we love all of our 40s and 50s fans. They are part of our demographic, but you guys are not in Congress. And you know what? If you are, why don't you take the Commodore out to a fancy hotel and fuck some good sense into him because he's being a naughty, naughty Nelly. All right, so
Naughty Nelly.
we're
Yeah.
off to the Sheertex adventure. Here we go. 1 second here. Grandpa Pantyhose King is going to share his screen. And there she blows.
And by the way, I said years, not how old they are, by the way.
You know what? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I know you can't do math.
I can't do the math. Okay, are you seeing the great sheer text caper?
No, man, I'm not.
You're not?
Yeah, it is. It's up.
Okay, sarcasm does not translate well when we're doing live production. Just thought I'd throw that out there. You're like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live, right? No, the camera's dead. No. Uh, What's going on? All of a sudden, people are getting fired. The Great Sheer Text Caper. Okay. This is by Isabel Slone, who is a new hero. Might want to have her on the show because this is a well-written article. This is written for the great, I'm sorry, this was written for, I apologize for this. It was written for Freak Palace. So On February 16th, 2025. She says, before you read on,
Palace.
we'll give her money. You know, I might donate her some money because I really am. This is good writing. One of the
Before
greatest.
you read how much like
Hmm?
lowering Freak Palace subscription, which is
I
totally
like it.
reasonable sound to give everyone a break. Who is this girl?
She's a journalist. She's an independent journalist.
So what is she to you?
What
Just
is she?
something you read?
What is she? TO? Can you explain? What do
To
you mean?
you. Who is she to you?
Who is she to me? She is,
Yeah.
I think, she's written one of the best and most incisive Sheertex takedowns articles that I've ever read. One of the greatest disappointments of my adult consumer life by far has been Sheertex tights. I love this. Okay. I love the fact.
Hmm.
Okay. Never before has the promise of a product been so great and the execution so faulty. Sheertex, of course, are the tights brand who purport to sell indestructible tights. Founded on the premise that tights shouldn't be disposable pieces of garbage, founder Catherine Humuth,
Oh man.
Catherine, whatever, Black Beauty. What's she gonna do? Um, Literally has to. I mean, she's a public figure. If I want to say that she has large horsey teeth, then I can say that. That's my opinion. She can say I look like a caveman. That's fine, but I'd rather look like a caveman than a horse. Just saying. That's rude of me. Okay. She literally had to figure out a way to engineer new material out of ballistic level thermoplastics in order to create a product that lived up to her high standards. They are supposedly the number one selling tights brand in the USA. I love that, supposedly. At 49 USD per pair, they're incredibly expensive, but all coverage seems to point to the fact that they are worth the price. One breathless review suggested, "Your search for the perfect tights ends here." Quote, despite this, the company is not even close to being profitable. It gets better. Here's a shot of her beautiful pair that she spent, I think, $100 on. Here are the indestructible tights that she got. I have a slightly different perspective. Here's the story. In 2021, I bought 5 pairs of Sheertex tights with the intention of never having to buy tights again, or more realistically, buy tights for the next 5 to 7 years. I was quite taken by their marketing and loved the idea that they had invented a true solution to an existing problem, and in doing so, created a sustainable version of disposable product. It was game-changing stuff, or at least it started out that way. The first time I tried the tights on, they seemed fairly normal, but I did notice a few small things seemed off. They were less stretchy than the average pair, and they had a strange metallic sheen, likely owing to the different fibers made out of. Upon wearing, I found them a bit scratchier than the tights that I was wearing, but I didn't mind much. My legs are indestructible come winter time. But after 4 years, all but one of my tights remains. One pair got holes in the front almost immediately, which is bizarre considering I tend to keep my toenails wickedly short. It wasn't that I was wearing the wrong size either. I purchased firmly within my size range. A quick survey of other people who brought the tights revealed similar issues. And here comes the Twitter comments.
Oh
Sheer
boy.
text, sheer text got to run the first time I put them on. They're so awful that I am actually triggered by their ads because they are so blatantly false and scroll away as fast as I can. Class action win. Love it. Arguably the most ripped pair of tights I own. Also, if there's a quote, no rip guarantee, then why only have a 90-day exchange policy? Eh? Mine have never gotten a run, but on the flip side, they're so uncomfortable that putting them on me made me cry. I'm sorry. I love this stuff. They're spot on show fields where the display tights literally, somebody tried hard, okay? But we're gonna give them an A for effort, but not for grammar. Literally, maybe that's the slang that kids are using now instead of saying literally, because it's literally. So maybe I'm wrong here. They have two giant runs. I never saw this photo before. Did you? The world's most
No.
the world's most
I've
brilliant.
seen the one where she is using it as a swing, and then the other one where they put I can't remember the pound of barbell weight,
Right.
but they have it dropped inside of it.
So this one says the world's most resilient tights, making the impossible possible. And as you can see here, there are two giant runs in the center of the thing. Like two giant runs. I love it. In 2023, I was culling my sock drawer culling when I decided to do a final survey. Every single pair of American Apparel tights I've owned since worked were in great shape. The feet were a little dirty looking after a decade of consistent pair, which I think just means you've been using them for good reasons. I mean, a
Hmm.
dirty feet means you've been having fun. Okay. Sheertex were unwearable. My favorite pair, the Swiss Dots, would not stretch open and had developed what I can only describe as stretch marks. It's almost as if whatever freaky material they are made of should not have been turned into tights. Thankfully, one pair, the fine rib semi-sheer, are still going strong. So 4 years after the initial purchase, only 20% of the tights I initially ordered are still wearable. That's pretty terrible percentage for a product that effectively markets itself as indestructible. Upon some reflection, the strongest aspects of Sheertex Heights might be bulletproof marketing. Sheertex has one of the most aggressive social media strategies I've ever seen. It follows you everywhere. This is presumably because I'm the exact demographic of consumer they're trying to target. Yeah, because they don't fucking want to talk to boys. Because, tights are for faggots. Uh, then it wears you down. All of a sudden you see that the product you're marketed to every day has gone on sale, and that's when you buy. I really thought I was getting a deal since I noticed that they're never not on sale. It started to remind me of the rug store at Queens and Jarvis that had been there since I moved and always had a 50% off going out of business sign. You get some people that way, but you also ensure that some people never trust you again. Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you very much, Isabel Slone. I'd like to have you on the show sometime because this is the first time that I have seen uh, somebody negatively and very pointedly go after Sheertex. And it almost makes me wonder and tell me what you think, Commodore. Do you think Sheertex had such an ironclad publicity thing going on that they did not even allow for this type of material to surface, that they might bury this kind of negative press? Because everything I remember reading, this shit was going to change the world, even with those ridiculous commercials coming out. What are your thoughts?
Well, see, here's the way I'm looking at it is they did I from our previous episodes, I didn't even know that they had done any sort of advertising commercial wise. And it seems like they targeted more of the foreign affairs. And I say foreign as anything outside of Canada and the United States.
Hmm. Hmm.
Again, the German, what would you call him, Instagrammer or
Yeah, I mean, I think
per, what the influencer? There we go, the proper word, influencer.
I mean, he
I've
was
never
a
heard of
meme.
the guy.
He
I've
was a
never
meme.
seen the guy. The guy was fucking weird. I don't know. Whatever they tried to do
I mean,
clearly didn't resonate with either market.
I'm
And
sure they paid him so much money. I can't blame him.
I
I'm like,
did that's besides the point of what they paid. The marketing scheme isn't that great.
no shit.
They seem to dump a lot of money and it's not going towards, and again, the the American market.
Or even Canadian, I would say, right?
I
Because
mean,
if
I'm sitting on a Canadian server, right?
oh, how's
And
that feel?
you type in Sheertex, and I got to tell you, it basically what comes up is Reddit. I'll even put it in right now. So what comes up immediately is Sheertex number one because they paid Google, right, to make
Right.
sure that it's top primary.
Right.
New York Times, Pure Wow, Refinery 29, Costco now has them.
And then we'll bring that up later. That's an interesting point, but continue.
Yeah, which, by the way, because I was just at Costco, they don't have it. I think it's only online. There's a thing called Birdie, but that article's back from 2023, and then Reddit, and there is just a plethora of folks that just destroy it, like Trustpilot, Birdie. Let's see here. Go to the next page. You know, it's funny is every time I go to Google and type it in, I get different results each time.
Hmm. It's
So for sure, what I can tell you is since Google is a moneymaker, you pay enough money and you can You can basically you can't get rid of the negative publicity, but you can damn sure push it all the way down that someone's really got to hit the key words to get it to surface.
Have you been following the Ryan Reynolds Blake Lively debacle that's been going on, where the two of them have literally shit the bed trying to sue somebody for sexual, Justin Baldoni, the director of the movie, they're trying to sue him for sexual harassment, and everybody in the country basically decided, fuck you guys, like there's no evidence, there's no paper trail. The lawyers on his side are coming back and saying like, you're amending your harassment complaint, like just
Mm-hmm.
basically, this is in my opinion. I think Blake Lively is such a mean girl with such mental instability that she can't take the fact that she fucked up a campaign from a film she tried to steal. And so because of this, she's now getting everybody involved, including hiring an ex-CIA operative to do work for her, which, why are you getting the CIA involved in a, it's not even criminal, it's a civil litigation. But the reason
So
I say,
I won't give my ulterior motive to the fact that I'm if the way this is going is indeed true, it's getting rid of that bullshit Me Too movement.
well,
It's finally
it's
it's
not
finally phasing that shit out to the fact that a woman cannot just fuck a dude over by saying rape. They're starting to get to the idea of you need to have concrete proof. It's
well,
no longer based on your word. You legitimately have to have proof before you can just run amok over somebody.
and I
And
think,
that's been my chief complaint about the Me Too bullshit movement is
well,
that they were
okay,
so quick to
let's,
demonize and villainize males.
I'm going to I'm just going to say, like, the Me Too movement, that I'm not going to say that there were not people who were legitimately
No,
like,
and I'm not discounting the ones that were legitimate,
it
but
is
you
the,
had a good portion of it that was
well,
you've had
there's,
females just go,
well,
oh no, I'm just kidding,
there's
and the
bad,
guy's entire career is fucked.
there's bad faith actors whenever there is a movement, whenever anybody can take advantage of something. Whenever there's a movement, there's always going to be a bad faith actor. Blake Lively is an example of that. And what's interesting, and this is just a sidebar, but what's interesting about that is that it is truly, when a woman does that and betrays the fidelity of their sisterhood by creating a lie.
Sisterhood.
Well, what? It's,
Not a goddamn sisterhood. It's just
do
an
you,
individual acting
Commodore,
like an asshole.
Commodore, do you, didn't, weren't you in a frat?
No,
Okay, well, you seem like you should have been.
I always seem like I should, but lone wolves never do that shit.
Oh,
I
lone wolf.
didn't need a group of dudes to pump up the masculinity and give myself meaning.
Well, that's just because you have masculinity in spades. But all I'm saying is that, like, when I say sisterhood, I mean it in fraternity. I mean it in
Sorority?
hmm?
I mean
Well,
sorority?
it's the same diff.
I don't know. Some of the female viewers may correct you.
Yeah, we can
Just
talk.
saying, if we're gonna say stuff, we got to make
All
sure it's
right. Well,
correct.
you 0.05% of female viewers write us in and let me know exactly what you think, whether or not I misspoke, and I will, and if I did, I
Oh,
will
you'll be fine. They're gonna come right after me, dude. They
I
always come
will,
after me.
no, no. You know who comes after you. I'll tell you who comes after you. It's not the girls. So let's see
That's
here.
for sure.
Okay, so here's interesting, a little bit of a little like thing here. The I looked up Catherine.
Vermouth.
I looked up Black Beauty on the news thing, or I guess actually she's more like Milk Toast Beauty. She's. I'm saying that she allegedly looks like you want to feed her carrots and hay, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. That she has a very prominent horsey face, of which should never be
Hold
on
on.
camera.
Let's deviate for the personal attacks and
I
let's
don't
focus on the fact that her business orientation made itself limited. She showed her weakness.
Right, exactly. And when you know what happens when a horse can't, walk anymore, you take it out behind the barn. And anyway, Sorry, Catherine. You're really pretty, like everybody else told you. You should have done that Taylor Swift video. It was so graceful. You didn't dance like a chimp. Yay for you. By the way, I got confirmation Taylor Swift wears Calcedonia. Ooh, mic drop. Um,
Yes, I did. Actually, I did. You know, what's funny is I didn't research it, but for some reason I was thinking Chalcedonia.
mhm.
So I'm glad that I got that spot on. Again, didn't research it, didn't say it out loud because I'm like, I'll feel like an idiot if I say that.
Because you're a connoisseur, you're a connoisseur. So, this is apparently from womenofinfluence.ca. I don't know what Ka is. I guess it's, I don't know. This was written a day ago. Catherine Humuth is the CEO of the Y Combinator backed technology company dedicated to using the material science and smart blah 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 blah. They're still going on about Sheetex. It's patented knit made from one of the world's strongest polymers. It's like, dude, you didn't invent the polymer. It was there. You chose to use it, and you know what happened? It tastes like pancakes and fucking like what's that stuff they use to clean out sinks, that metal scrunchy stuff. Like
The
like
Brillo pad,
thank you. It felt like Brillo pad to wear those pantyhose. But it's made out of the strongest polymers. Before founding Sheertech, she led and sold two businesses, Shop Locket, I don't know,
which I've never heard of, by the way.
no, and Female Funders, an online education program for female investors, was acquired by Highline Beta in 2017. Okay, I have a question. Could we apply for female funders, or is our lack of vagina a
I don't know because Canada is very progressive, so I'm pretty sure if you identify, should not be turned away.
well, I identify Catherine as prove that I don't have a vajayjay. That's what I'm saying. You gonna strip me? What's next? You gonna check me for birthmarks for moles? Catherine is the author of
Birthmarks from moles. Oh man.
an entrepreneur's guide to raising your first round. Well, I will give her that. That lady raised her first round, and she spent it on German memes and ballerina videos with drag queens dancing around in what can only be described as, I think, if if we were in old times, people would say that she's possessed by some sort of demon because of the way her body is shaking, and we need to actually tie her to a bed and have a ceremony. Catherine was
Yeah,
also named one of Forbes' top 30 under 30. Although I'm sorry, I was going to be mean, but I won't be mean anymore, Tyler. I'm sorry,
there
Commodore.
you go.
Um, she was named Forbes top 30 under 30. Who doesn't look 30? And Canada's top 40 under 40. Who doesn't? She could be a look 50. And one of the women to watch in wearables, and one of Canada's most 100 most powerful women, and one of Flair's 60 under 30. 60 under 30? Is that really even an honor? It's like you're
So I remember when those ratings actually used to mean something because my
right.
father was actually put in 30 under 30
Really?
and he received a plaque and everything, but it was something that you had to be nominated for.
You had to be good. You couldn't
Like,
just
I
buy
don't,
free
I'm
in.
sure someone nominated her or she had made, again, when you have a very robust personality and
Robust bank account.
and you don't have an issue with, I wouldn't say flamboyant as much as you promote yourself, right? You get yourself out there in that name, and people it rings that they go, "Oh, this person's doing really well." And again, when you had it, what struck a bell was when you said that she had acquired the two companies. So she's basically no better than Elon Musk. She
And
didn't found it, she acquired it, and
mhm,
then turned around and sold it.
right. And but yet is claiming to be the one who was so entrepreneurial and so free thinking that she was able to mix. She's like, listen, you guys, how about this? We make a pair of pantyhose out of cement, razor blades, and a little bit of nylon. They'll never break. And they're like, that's brilliant because you have so much money. And then everybody's putting on the pantyhose, and they all of a sudden lose, the ability to their bladder function, and their toes fall off, and they complain about it, and then they bury it. I know I got a little bit of a V for vendetta against Kate. I'm gonna call her that because we're close now. Really, listen, Katie, I got a V for vendetta. But you know what? In this day and age, I like seeing people who are bad people getting what they deserve. I'm tired of seeing incredibly privileged people taking whatever they want and being able to spin themselves into this, like, faux Christ-like figure, this person that people, want to follow because everybody is so desperate to believe in something that
Hmm.
all of a sudden this this woman is able to solve all the world's problems with $100 pairs of scratchy pantyhose. And thank you, Isabel Slone. And I'm glad that a woman was taking this down, because after all, legally, Katie didn't like to sell anything to boys because, you know, financial funding, whatever. You know what would happen if we started like a boys club where we said it'd be like called the Penis Foundation? Be like, we're gonna celebrate all the, 300 men under 30 with, but we're gonna call it the Penis Foundation instead of her, what did she call it? The Girly Lady Foundation. I don't know what the hell her name was. It was the thing she did where she was the grand high witch of all, choosing of all the women that got into the
Female founders or something like that.
thing.
Of
The female founders. They're like the pilgrims.
course. Good pilgrims.
I wonder how many. I'm
Very
like,
good pilgrims.
and with those factories, Katie, how many minorities did you decimate? That was wrong. All right. So just to close out the Sheetex thing, I did find it very interesting that one of our very avid commenters gave me some interesting things to discuss. That apparently, from this is from our last episode, that apparently what was going on, okay. So they live in Montreal, and apparently there is a Sheetex still in Montreal that claims that they're hiring, which I mean, you got to give it
I mean,
up.
that's easy to claim, but has anyone actually been hired?
No, I mean it's easy to claim, but I'm saying it's he and or she was confused because the episode they said they're on the side of a major highway. The sign says we're hiring, and now they have attached a cheap banner saying "Vente de," and excuse my butchering, "Vente de le tripo," which means warehouse sale. Um, for a while now, I've seen a lot of Sheertex being sold at Winners. I guess it's a Toronto or a Canadian store for $20, and they have easily 300 pairs, and they have refused to buy one since that has happened. So I find it interesting that they're even still pushing for it in. I mean, an American like like something that's analog to that, where a company was just bombing, and it was like a boutique store that just was bombing. I mean, we had Enron and all the, Bernie Madoff and all that great monstrosities, but have we ever had
Hmm.
it like a boutique store that was pushing so hard to make it, I guess, what Theranos might have been the closest thing, right?
I don't know. I tend to keep to my own backyard. You know what I mean?
Have you been selling things in your backyard?
Yes. Yes. All sorts of different things.
Carrots,
Carrots, parrots,
uh, your ass, I hope. Because
carrots.
so let's hear the deal. So well, now we're gonna move on to a little more positive note. Uh, Pantyhose are in full bloom, I'd say. Commodore, what do you think about that? How have you, and because Commodore and I live on opposing coasts, but I think this is interesting. So, Commodore, tell me, have you been spotting pantyhose out in the wild lately?
Honestly, I was telling you earlier before we started, I saw a woman in Costco. She was just came from work and she was repping them, and it was fantastic. Meanwhile, she's like one, and let's just say if we'll go with the 100 women in there, the other ones look like absolute ass. One of them was wearing slippers
I
in the
love,
store.
okay, I'm being mean to Katie, but you can say 100 women look like ass. But I
Yeah,
just,
because it's there's no one person. I'm not naming names, but the majority of American women look like ass. They go out, they dress like ass. They don't look professional. They don't look nice. I don't know when the trend is going to go with the majority of women and men. I got to put this much of how do we go from wearing suit and tie, slacks and a polo or a button down shirt to fucking holes in jeans, pajama pants and slippers to go out. Like I'm seeing the trend of people starting to understand that dressing professional is a mindset, right? It's psychological. And I'm starting to see
a
that
little shift. Yeah.
a little different. You're starting to see the rise in pantyhose in both men and female.